Joining us now, the ranking member of House Budget, Congressman Jason Smith, and Wall Street Pro Carol Roth. It's great to see you. You just heard that report, Congressman. The economy front and center in primaries tonight. More and more companies laying off workers and doing hiring freezes in this recession. You cannot do Fed rate hikes won't fix a supply chain crisis and labor shortages, Congressman. What do you say to that?
You know, it's a disaster. We're facing one crisis after another, whether it's the inflation crisis, where inflation's gone up 13.7% since Joe Biden's taken the oath of office. Real wages are down 4.5% for Americans. Energy prices are still extremely high. So people's facing the pinch, and they're not very optimistic about the future because the direction and the leadership of one-party Democrat rule in Washington, they're coming up with all the wrong ideas. They just want to spend our way out of inflation, and they want to tax our way out of a recession.
And to the congressman's point, it's leadership. It's a leadership problem, Carol. Look at this. Nancy Pelosi now has to deal with this. California Highway Patrol today releasing video of her husband Paul's DUI arrest after he ran a stop sign and crashed into a Jeep. The videos show what police have described as Mr. Pelosi's, quote, objective signs of intoxication. So there's that. That's what's going on. That's Pelosi getting distracted by that. But, Carol, talk to us about what Congressman Smith just mentioned. You know, how the Democrat policies are hitting the U.S. economy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge until we get some level of accountability, until the government stops spending, until the Fed stops printing. Unfortunately, nothing is going to change. And it is just so frustrating, Liz, because all of this was central planning in action. I mean, this could have been entirely avoided. And unfortunately, because we don't have economic literacy within the population, things like the stimulus checks that came out of the American Rescue Plan, everybody wanted their, $1,200, and now they're paying thousands upon thousands of dollars for that. Yeah. And so until we stop with this spending and the accountability, nothing changes.
It's about common sense, was what Carol's talking about, Congressman. I mean, we're looking at U.S. nat gas future contracts for September. $10. They have more than tripled under Biden. They were at $2.50. So that means more inflation coming down the road. Congressman, the Federal Reserve can't fix an energy problem, a U.S. oil and gas problem, with Fed rate hikes. So what are they doing in D.C.?
Yeah, that's a great question. One thing that what they are doing is making sure that the wealthy are getting all kinds of welfare, and the working class are the ones paying the price for higher taxes and more audits. That's what we saw with the Inflation Reduction Act that just passed in the last week and a half. It's a disaster. That bill alone, Liz, added $12 billion in tax increases on U.S. energy. That's only going to make energy prices to soar, and it's going to hurt the pocketbooks of all Americans. We have a leadership problem in the White House. We have a leadership problem in the House, and we have one in the Senate. That is why Americans are upset, and they're done with one-party Democrat rule.
We've got a shortage of common sense in D.C., Carol. Right? I mean, the president and Democrats tomorrow, they're going to demsplain away over Biden. He may pull the trigger tomorrow on even more student loan forgiveness for pointless, useless, baloney liberal arts degrees like the cultural significance of soap operas. This is to reward his base. This is to turn out the vote. Is this going to worsen inflation? It doesn't fix what they like to talk about, the root causes of everything. In this case, tuition gouging by fat cat academics.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I don't think that it's necessary. I mean, it is a lack of common sense, but at the end of the day, I think that this is all intentional. It is just a constant wealth transfer from the average American to the wealthy and the wealth connected. If you forgive any amount of student loans and you don't put the colleges on the hook, you don't reform what's happening at the schools, you don't make them have some skin in the game, then what are they going to do? They're just going to continue to price gouge. If you're not getting an education or really an accreditation that has an appropriate return on investment, then we have a big problem to fix. That's the problem that needs to be attacked, not the symptom.
Yeah, so Carol's talking about getting at what the problem is. You know, we've got these primary races tonight, Congressman. Democrat Val Demings is fighting to take on Senator Marco Rubio. Democrats Nikki Fried and Representative Charlie Crist squaring off for the chance to face off against Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. And New York Democrat Carolyn Maloney face off against Jerry Nadler. Each chair powerful House committees. They join a growing list of Democrats who say, you know, they may not support Biden running again. He's turning 80 in November. He may not be up to it. What do you say?
He's definitely not up to lead this country. He's not up to turning on the lights in the White House. It's interesting if you watch the Democrat members of Congress. They are running as fast as they can away from Joe Biden. They don't want to be caught with him. But guess what? The policies that Joe Biden has signed into law are the policies that the Democrat House and the Democrat Senate have all passed. They've all supported. So they can't run away from their policies. They are up on the ballot this coming November. The American people is going to speak loud and clear. They're not happy with Joe Biden. They're not happy with Speaker Pelosi, and they're definitely not happy with Senator Chuck Schumer.
Carol Roth, final word.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that is the case, and I think the congressman is correct. You know, we have no idea who is in charge in the White House, but we do know that this is the policies that are coming out, and it goes up and down the ballot for the Democrats. So unfortunately, unless people are willing to make that change, you know, we're in big trouble.
Well, maybe it's President Ron Klain and Vice President Susan Rice. We don't know. Congressman Jason Smith and Carol Roth, thank you so much for joining us. It's good to see you.